Happy Tuesday, everybody. Another episode of the Final Whistle with my all-star or our all-star coaching staff right here. We got Ty Hayes. How are you doing, sir?
Can't complain. Happy to be here on this Tuesday evening.
And people, Ty Hayes does a lot of great content around the table sports. Not going to mention his OF, but he does an amazing job. And ladies and gentlemen, right above him, Chris James, our resident Guy Fieri, Gordon Ramsay. What's on the menu tonight, sir?
Chicken and rice with some gizzards.
With some gizzards. Hey, oh man!
Hey, look though, Matt. I got it in the pressure cooker.
Ooh. You have gizzards in the pressure cooker.
Yes, boy.
I want you to go on MasterChef and that be the plate you give Gordon Ramsay and say, "Here's some gizzards."
Hey, every day we stray further from God.
Hey, it'll be like Ratatouille. We went back to his childhood. He was like,
"Oh man, Ty gets around a lot." Okay.
That's why I had to start that OnlyFans.
I see. Speaking of OnlyFans, ladies and gentlemen, the resident Final Whistle analyst, Mr. Lushan. How are you doing today?
You know, I'm okay, but Chris kind of making me a little bit hungry, So, other than that, I'm ready to get it in with the Avengers. We got a lot to talk about tonight.
Yes, we are the Avengers. And as always, folks, hit that like, subscribe button. This is your spot on the Final Whistle where you get comedy, food, obviously, recruiting, Bama news. We do it all. We just do it all here at the Final Whistle. And ladies and gentlemen, our lead recruiting analyst, Dan the Man James. How are you doing, sir?
Roll Tide, brother. I'm ready for another fun-filled show.
I heard that. And ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who put the booth almost out of business, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Daniel Patty. How are you, Daniel Patty?
I'm excited to be back. Here making fans all across Bama Nation.
As always, ladies and gentlemen, hit that like, subscribe button. We're always here on the Bama Standard, your standard for Bama content. Thanks for joining us. And listen, Patty, could you give us a shout out of our solutions, Workspace Solutions?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Check us out, Workspace Solutions. We're a big sponsor of the Bama Standard. You see the website there, workspacepros.com. You're already laughing. I said, look down to me laughing. It just throws me off. Now, check us out, Workspace Solutions. We are a sponsor of Bama Standard. Man, we help your business grow. We're your online solution, marketing, web design, SEO, content writing. We are your digital presence. Check us out, workspacepros.com.
Workspacepros.com, guys. That's with the O. So we're going to get it started, everybody. We're going to discuss a whole bunch of topics. Grubb, Huff, college game versus pro. We got it all. And we're not going to discuss Usher's halftime show, but us being the star of the show, we're going to talk about the breaking news coming out from Matt Zentz. And I'm going to start with Ty Hayes, just getting your thoughts on the co-OC news, Nick Sheridan, Jamarcus Shepard. Give us your thoughts and we'll go around the horn. We'll go Ty, Chris, Lushan, Petty, Dan, and I'll round it out. Ty?
Yeah, I won't take long. Listen, it just makes sense. Whenever you have an offensive-minded coach like a DeBoer who's running an offense that he has cultivated that's been so successful, you're going to need that familiarity, and that's exactly what Nick Sheridan offers. And then when you look at Jamarcus Shepard, there's no way you wanted to lose him. The wide receiver production over at Washington was noteworthy. And ladies and gentlemen, if we go back, they had some wide receivers actually sustain injuries this year. So that was a room that if we look at the stats, already eye-popping, but we have to remember their running back was running on 1/2 of a foot in the national championship, and they had already had some injuries in the wide receiver room. that offense still put up big numbers. Whenever he was passing game coordinator at Washington, Jamarcus Shepard, they had the number 1 and number 2 passing attacks in the nation in 2022, 2023. So listen, Ryan Grubb would have loved to have kept him, but I think these moves make a lot of sense when you think about it from the perspective of DeBoer wants his guys to have autonomy and he wants the familiarity. And when you think about it like that, it does make sense.
I love it. Chris, your thoughts? Okay, guys, sponsored by Boost Mobile here on the Final Whistle. Let's go to Lushan. You're next you got the hot mic right now.
I think I agree with Ty. I'm a fan of the in-house hiring. He's familiar with the system and he's developed some guys. He has a familiarity with taking quarterbacks to the next level, and I'm interested to see what's going to happen next. Because, with him sharing the role with Jamarcus Shepard, you know what that is? That is diverse qualities when you're trying to call an offense, and that's going to make our offense dangerous because you have 2 minds instead of 1 trying to attack a defense.
I love it. Mr. Patty, give us your thoughts, sir, since you're so popular in Tuscaloosa among the Bama fans.
Van, the 12th and the 13th, I'll be needing your services in Tuscaloosa. You can meet me at the Moonwinks Inn, where I'll be checking in to my stay for some crack and a hoe for $10. Now, my thoughts, coaches like this, man, it's almost like Kiffin. The OC's kind of is. You don't worry about it because it's going to be DeBoer's system. And echo what Lou and Ty said, he's going to, I mean, they've been in the system. They know what DeBoer's going to run. It's his deal. Much more worried about the offensive line situation than I am how the offense is going to be ran. I was much more excited about Huff. DeBoer's the one, like you said, you get Lane Kiffin, you get that offense. You get Kelly down or at LSU, you get those offenses. So it is and I think DeBoer's that same type of guy. So, I'm excited about it. It gives, these guys have been in the system. They're going to be good. They'll be fine.
I agree. Dan the man, your thoughts, sir?
Yes, I love the move. The co-offensive coordinator role, to give that to Jamarcus Shepard. But from my understanding, it's going to be Nick Sheridan and DeBoer with the play calling. Jamarcus Shepard is going to be more so involved in the game planning, offensive game planning. But I like the move. That's the best you can ask for because it's hard right now at this point. To bring in an offensive coordinator and teach them the Bo's system. I mean the Bo's system. And but now's the time. Before we get into the spring, it's a great time. So we'll talk more about it. But yeah. I like the move.
Chris, can you hear us?
I can hear it now, man. I'm so sick of this, man. It'll all be cured after Friday.
Did you have to unplug the pressure cooker to get this thing?
I know I had to do, dog. I just got too much power going on in here, man.
He need to be off there anyway before he gets in the pressure cooker.
Hey, look, man. Dan been trying to tell me for years, man. I need to switch over, leave the Apple alone, man. Apple is just. I'm about sick of Apple, man.
You're working on that AOL.
No, man. I'm about sick of Apple, man. But but I like the move, man, because you're not bringing someone unfamiliar with the offense, and so because when you're introducing a new offense, you don't want to have to introduce it to players and coaches. You get what I'm saying? So you have somebody that knows the offense already, and really like the boy's going to be the play caller, pretty much like Kiffin. I think he's going to be the one that vetoes or okays the play calls. But just to have that continuity, now we can focus on getting the best offensive line coach we can find. Hopefully Matt Luke or somebody like that in here to and tight end coach. We might as well have kept Joe Cox on staff. I mean, Jesus. But just being able to have that continuity amongst the boys guys, that's a great thing, and I think that it's going to pay off And like Lou said, having Shepard was a must keep. He was a must keep, and to have the input from somebody that knows the passing game like that, has developed receivers like that. So you're having opinions from inside the trenches and from the passing game. But the last thing was as far as what was it? It was a point I wanted to make about that comment threw me off.
I thought the man that was
all you can hear now is that.
that comment threw me off, man. It made me lose my train. Oh yeah, as far as Sheridan, man, I've heard glowing reviews about him, especially from the Michigan fan base. They love the guy. They think that he's the next up and comer. And as far as coaches are concerned, they say he's a very smart guy and comes from good stock. So we'll see, man. I'm not worried about the offense. I mean, it's going to take care of itself. Because it's DeBoer's baby. So kind of like Saban's defense, it's DeBoer's offense.
That's right.
Yeah, I agree. And you gonna say something, Justin?
I'm the president, sir. Address me as such.
Oh, sorry.
We've gone back to the white shirt.
He didn't last long. He had to go back out on the hunt, ladies.
Duct tape is no longer.
Hey, if you see a white man in Jackson, Mississippi, run the other way.
There's no duct tape left in Jackson, Mississippi.
The problem with that, Matt, is there are several white vans in Jackson, Mississippi. So you're going to have to pinpoint specifically which one we're talking about.
I would just avoid all of them to be safe.
I'll be the one driving a Geo Metro, so y'all be on the lookout for that. And it just completely threw me off my point. But no, Bama fans should not be concerned about Nick Sheridan. I think that he needs to be given more flowers than what he's being given in terms of a developmental coach. If we go back to his time at Tennessee, he took Josh Dobbs, who was an absolute train wreck of a quarterback, and turned him into an all-SEC performer. And then in 2018, Indiana, of all teams, who was near the bottom of the basement in terms of offensive production, went from being one of the worst in the nation to moving up 40 spots in just 1 year. And he was the original architect of Michael Penix. So that everywhere he goes, he's been able to develop players and turning them into elite athletes. We saw what the finished product was with Michael Penix. So all those who were concerned with Grubb leaving as far as how Milroe is going to develop, we have a quarterback whisperer. So all that nonsense needs to disappear.
I agree. And to piggyback on what Justin said, like, I don't know if you guys remember, I'll just say this. This is DeBoer's system. It's very innovative. It's very complicated. It's very detail-oriented. And DeBoer is going to have his hand on it. And like I think Petty said, it's all about fit, familiarity with the staff. He wants somebody that's a good fit. And I felt like an outside hire maybe wouldn't have been the best fit. But I think this is best for us long-term. DeBoer's going to have his input on how he wants his offense run. Sheridan has called plays, but my original point, only time I remember hearing about Indiana was when Michael Penix was one of the top quarterbacks at Indiana, and when they played Tennessee in that bowl game. And majority of those guys, whether it's DeBoer, Sheridan, all those guys were on that team. So I'm confident in what if DeBoer's all about it, I'm all for it. So, Chris, were you able to figure out your other thought, or did it just blank you? Okay, so Ty Hayes, I'm gonna let you go and kind of run the show after this, man. You're the man. I like hearing Ty because he does such a great job. I mean, Ty's the next big shot. Everybody, he's gonna be the man. We're gonna be needing his autograph soon because he's gonna get too big for the final whistle. We're
negative Ghost Rider.
We're in contract deliberations with his. He is one of the bigger NIL deals, so we're working on getting some bigger NIL money for him. So Ty, you run the show, sir.
Well, guys, we've been talking a lot about the offensive coordinator, but that's not the only position Alabama lost. And I want to open this up to the chat. I want to hear from you. What's a bigger loss for the Crimson Tide? Is it Ryan Grubb? Is it Scott Huff? And I have a clear answer. And this is coming from someone who, and I'm going to eat crow here, I thought Grubb was staying. I said it over here. I said it on my channel. I said it everywhere. I thought Grubb would stay. I was very excited about the Ryan Grubb hire. I think he is going to be a really solid offensive coordinator. But that being said, guys, Alabama's offensive line has been a disaster for not 1 year, not 2 years, but 3 years. I went back and looked, and I started really asking myself, what does this look like? Because you're not going to be successful on offense if you can't win the line of scrimmage. I mean, that's one of the most fundamental rules of football that you are taught at the earliest of ages. You must win the line of scrimmage. What I found, guys, when I looked back at the previous 3 years, it changed the way I viewed Alabama football. It changed the way I viewed the success Alabama had, because we knew the offensive line had problems. But let me give you the numbers. 49 sacks allowed in 2023. That's good for 129th in the nation. The only teams worse, Old Dominion, Colorado. 22 sacks allowed in 2022. Now, they were a top 50 in the nation at 47, but that's not good enough, let's be honest. In 2021, 41 sacks allowed, good for number 120 in the nation. Gentlemen, that's averaged out to 99th in the nation and averaging 37 sacks per year. How in the world do you only lose 2 games whenever you have such inconsistent offensive line play? I don't know, but it really made me sit back and appreciate the level of success Alabama has been able to sustain despite offensive line play that's all over the place. Guys, the answer, in my opinion, quite simple. Huff is the bigger loss out of the two, and that's with all due respect to Ryan Grubb. That is where I'm most interested. I'm going to pass it off to Matt.
I agree with you on that. I'm an offensive guy, and I know it's all about, I'm going to let, the other guys talk about the offensive line, but, I kind of was looking forward to Grubb. I'm not going to lie. Just looking at Washington's offense the past couple of years, the creativity, all that good stuff. Initially I was like, man, we lost Grubb. But, to your point, Ty, looking at the offensive line, probably bringing in the Joe Moore award-winning offensive line coach to Alabama with our offensive line, I think that was going to be huge. So, man, you kind of got me torn. I'm going to go with Grubb just because, I know it's DeBoer system, but just because my pure excitement about having such a creative mind with all these weapons, I'm going to say Grubb. Chris?
Let me interject I just want to ask a question. Do you think that it's possible that Huff got on campus and saw the tackle position? It was like, man, I'm out of here.
I don't think so.
No. That's funny though, but no.
He's like, what? But seriously though, because I mean, it's definitely Huff. But the thing is, whoever the new guy is, he's gonna have probably the best interior 3 linemen in the country to work with. All he has to do is figure out those 2 tackle positions. If we can get those 2 tackle positions figured out, we will do some major damage. I think we're going to do major damage regardless, but I think that it's definitely Huff. I got to agree with Ty on that one. It's Huff because we got to do something about those sacks, and it's on the tackles. So
y'all playing flip cup back there?
The little one.
The little one. I heard that. Who's next? Petty?
Yeah, I'm gonna get an echo, but man, based off Tony's profile picture, I also want to hire that guy as a bodyguard on the 13th and 14th. Can I sign him up too? No, man. No, I agree, man. And it's hard to echo, I hate to be an echo chamber, but it's absolutely Huff for me as well. But more so, what Ty said, the offensive line has been abysmal the last couple of years, and it's not a talent problem, man. We've been hiring, we've been signing blue chips across the line of scrimmage, nothing daggone 4-star, 5-star kids. But when watching the film on Washington, one of the most exciting things outside of how dynamic the offense was how the offensive line moved and how they got to the second level and the way they pulled. It was very fun to watch that offensive line. So as much as it, like I said, it hurts Matt to not get to watch Grubb do his thing. Cause I agree. He is good, man. We're going to get into the whole, I think there's a lot more going on in the college football game than, we get into it as fans, and again, that's the next segment. But there's more to it with Grubb. But no, it's definitely Huff, man, because Huff was going to take over. Again, it's not talent, so he's going to have that talent to work with that I think is even better than what he had with at Washington, and had the best offensive line in the country. I was expecting to see a night and day change at offensive line, and I still kind of expect that. It's got to get better, but yeah, definitely Huff.
I agree, Dan. Lucian, sorry. Dan.
You on mute, dude.
Oh, definitely. I would say Huff. Because there's no way, nowhere to go but up. You know what I'm saying? If you cut cut it down to 25 sacks, it's still terrible. You know what I'm saying? But I think Huff is going to be the bigger miss, because we're still running DeBoer's offense, So it was going to be his offense anyway. Even at times, I think he had a lot of he did a lot of the play calling at Washington sometimes, So Huff is, that one hurts, you know what I'm saying? So, maybe we can pull something out, but I don't know, we say Matt Luke, but a lot of people crying for him, but I'm not really a big fan of that move, you know what I'm saying? He's a decent recruiter, you know what I'm saying, but I don't know as far as that's what we would need at this time, but no, definitely, we got to get some other names, you know what I'm saying? He's somewhere down on my list.
No, I agree. Yes. Dan.
Luce. As a position coach? Not even as a position coach?
I don't think he has the fire anymore. And this, again, I don't want to hop segments because I'm going to mention Matt in our next segment. I know Lou, I'm going to let Lou talk, but no, Matt's going to be a part of the next segment, I believe.
Yeah,
Matt,
I'm going to be a part of the
Matt Luke, not Matt, not Matt Williams, Matt the Rib Man Williams.
Lucian, your thoughts, sir?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't give a piss about neither of them leaving. I'm gonna tell you why.
Let's go. Bring it back, Lucian.
It all goes back to Coach KD in the words of my man Matt Caddell.
KD.
KD's been successful everywhere he's been. You guys all said he's an offensive coach. Now, in order to be a successful offensive coach, you will no doubtably have to put together a above average offensive line at every level. So that suggests to me that it wasn't all these other coaches, that in the scheme, Kalen DeBoer's scheme, he somehow gets the offensive line together at every level. Now, on the other hand, to Grubb and Huff's point, maybe it wasn't the fact that anything about coming to Alabama. Maybe they just didn't look at it as a challenge and they wanted to move on to the challenge. Because, coaching a whole bunch of 5-stars, like you said, it shouldn't be hard, right? So to me, these two leaving, I think is a good thing because I didn't hear any recruit say, Ryan Grubb was really in my corner. He's really the reason I came to Alabama. No, it was DeBoer. It was DeBoer. Guys, we got our guy. You got to trust him. He's been a monster for us, and he's going to keep being a monster. So I don't give a piss if these two dudes left. Whatever. Bye. See you. I hope the Seahawks go 0-17. They average 3.5 points a game. You heard?
Coming from a Raiders fan, everybody. Dan, you were like this. Shouts out to Marvin Waffle House, $9.99, 1 day closer to 8A. Can't wait to watch our boys roll Tide.
Smothered covered
Appreciate that, Marvin Wallace. Waffle House at Wallace. I'm thinking about that.
So hungry.
You saw Waffle House and just started thinking smothered covered top.
Smothered covered top.
Is it still called the All-American? Is it still called the All-Star Special? That's what I like. All-Star.
When you're drunk, it's one of everything on the menu, just all of that
shit. give the pork chop with the Worcestershire sauce.
Ty, get us back on coordinator.
Ty, I got to bring back the sanity as always.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to go from here.
Squirrel.
But wait, Ty, before you go, I'm gonna ask around. So we got, Sheridan, Jamarcus Shepard. You think we bring in another tight end coach and O-line coach? Are y'all hearing some names? What do y'all think this thing's gonna kind of play out?
So I can take this real fast. Whoever is the offensive line coach Sheridan will have a say in it. And I don't know if y'all read the quote about DeBoer wanting his offensive and defensive coordinators to have some level of autonomy and being able to put together their staffs because he believes in building around coordinators, which is really cool to hear about. Like, he seems like he'd be a great guy to work for. And so I haven't heard any leads, but I'd imagine it's already in the back burners being worked on. I mean, we have to think about the whole hiring process that went on. They were working in the background pretty rapidly at all turns, getting things done. So in terms of that, I think you probably do bring in a tight ends coach because we have the special teams coach in either Eng or Jay Nunez. So I'm pretty sure you'd either do a tight end coach and then an offensive line coach for the final two.
Anybody else? Anybody got some thoughts? So Sean, Dan?
No, I agree.
I heard somebody talking about somebody, but I couldn't put a pin on it. So let's go to Todd. Next topic.
Well, listen, I'll tell you what. I know Petty's ready to put a pin in, and that's the changes within the college game right now. And whether or not it's having an effect on coaches and choosing whether or not to stay in the college ranks or take opportunities in the NFL. Now, there's two competing ways to look at this. Yes, the NFL is inherently a step up. So if you get that opportunity, it only makes sense. It's the highest level of football. But guys, we're seeing what seems like coaches attempting to throw themselves off the ledge to get to the NFL at rates that we didn't previously see before, or it just feels different. Daniel, I think I'd be doing us a disservice if I didn't start with you on this, so take it away.
100%, man. And look, I know, especially in the South, we're so tied to the college game. But, man, you got to realize these guys working the end goals, the NFL. What we talked about before the show, the Super Bowl had 125 million viewers 2 nights ago. The national championship game, and it wasn't down. I know a lot of folks in the South didn't watch it because there wasn't an SEC team, but the numbers were still up for the national championship. It had 25 million viewers. I mean, it is the top dog, but I don't think that's the sole reason. I think the change in the college game is why you're seeing a lot of this. I didn't want to go too far into it down a rabbit hole with Matt Luke, but Matt Luke, was at Georgia, had a good position, and the fire kind of went out. You're recruiting 24/7. There used to be windows, man. We had signing day 2 weeks ago, and nobody even really gave a crap. That used to be Christmas to us junkies. Man, February was my Christmas as a football fan. I didn't even know it happened because either players had signed early or the portal or whatever. But with windows never closing, these coaches in college don't get a break. You're seeing guys, perfect example, when Kiffin got to Ole Miss, he got his brother who had coached with Hugh Freeze and then went off to the NFL, was at the Browns, Chris Kiffin, came down for 1 week with his brother and said, and he had left before the NIL crap broke open. Got to Ole Miss for 1 week, saw the recruiting and said, hell no, I'm hit the door. A lot of these guys, man, they're burning out quick. It's there's no breaks. You're doing it 24/7. You got kids. It's not the same. You're not just building relationships with kids and their families. You're getting asked for handouts. When can I get more money? How can you're dealing with agents and stuff? The game, we can gripe about it all we want, but these are some that, you're starting to see the side effects, in my opinion. So when you see guys like Grubb, I'm not necessarily sure I don't want to come to Alabama. These guys, man, if I can get to the NFL, I actually get a break in the offseason. You don't get that break anymore in college. And guys, I know we love it. I know we live and breathe it every day, 365 days a year. These guys aren't robots, man. They heck, even Nick Saban went up to Lake Burton every once in a while to unwind and get the batteries recharged. And that's not the world anymore that these guys live in. And I think it is absolutely affecting until they get a fix on it. You're going to see a lot more guys jumping ship, or even guys leaving UCLA to go be an offensive coordinator because they don't want to deal with the rat race anymore. Hell, why be at UCLA that's dying and fledgling when I can go just be an offensive coordinator at Ohio State who's operating like an NFL team with no salary cap? Yeah, it's absolutely changed it.
If I may, how much pressure is on Ryan Day this year? I mean, Mike, if they don't beat Michigan this year,
if they don't win the national championship, it's national championship or bust for them.
But you already know
if
how
they lose a game.
But you already know how that rivalry is. If you lose to Michigan again, that's going to be pandemonium. I'm sorry.
No, great. Hey, they get chips on the table, man. They're in.
He got to get out of spring training. I mean, you got new OC Chip Kelly, who might be trying to get your job. I don't know. It's going to be tough. Go, Chris.
I talk the crazy thing about it, like, I coach high school ball, so I deal with a lot of college coaches that come through in the spring. And one coach in particular, he left for college, an SEC program, went to the NFL, and he's back in college. But we asked him, hey, coach, what's the difference between, the college game and the NFL game? I said, well, which one would you prefer to be in? He said, NFL all day, every day. I said, why is that? He said, because of the schedule. He said, once you leave the office around 4:30 at the NFL, you're done for the day. He said, but in college, you're 10, 11 o'clock. After practice, you're on the phone with recruits. Just different things. It's like a never-ending cycle in college. But in the NFL, you get breaks. And that alone, he said that he'll choose the NFL 10 times out of 10. Just for that alone, just for the breaks and the ability to have a family life, to enjoy his family life. But I just think that college has become a young man's game, because with all the travel and that's tiring, man. I coach high school ball and that's tiring, because I can only imagine somebody that has to recruit and has to put that amount of hours. And that was I think was a big part of the reason why you saw a lot of turnover on Bama staff over the years, because Saban demanded excellence and he demanded, your time and effort, and that could burn, after a few years, that could burn you out. I'm gonna go in, commit for a few years, learn what I can learn from coaching, and move on, do my own thing. And especially now with these kids transferring out. Like, what did your guy say? Loxley say he had a third string running back.
100K.
Want 100K to stay? Like, man, come on. What job can you do that at anywhere other than college football? And go demand 100K?
Man. How much y'all gonna pay me to stay?
Yeah, so it's the no-brainer, man. It's like hours, time, and then these kids, man, like this is a different generation, man, from when we were coming up. Like just the demands that they make before even playing a snap. You want to get paid more than the guy that's been a two-time all-conference player, all-American, but you want more money than him coming in, and he's not even seeing this amount in Neil, but you want this up front. Before you may even be a bust. We don't know what we're getting out of you. So if you can handle the pressure. So just the demands of the job. And like I said, I think that's the reason why Coach Saban left. He was like, man, this is it. This has become too much for a lot of coaches, man. And it's just become a young man's game. So that's just my take on it.
Ty?
Yeah, I don't have too much more to add. I think that it's there's a lot that doesn't make sense to me. One thing that I've been saying for the better part of 4 months now that just makes absolutely no sense to me. And today is a great day to talk about it because what was the ESPN deal? $6 billion. What was that? 6 point something billion. Daniel, do you know the number on
It
that?
was around that. I mean, each SEC team got what, 51? Was that what?
So I'm close, right? We'll call it
Yeah.
6 billion for conversation's sake. How wild is it that this is an industry that just had a deal generate $6 billion, but when it comes to trying to get their antitrust structure right, they're asking the fans to pay the players. And listen, I think the players should be
Great
paid.
call,
I think that it is an absolute disservice that we are here. The NCAA had the means to fix this years ago. But here we are because they don't want it affecting their bottom line. I've said this so many times. After Alston versus NCAA, 10 days after Justice Kavanaugh put a giant target on the NCAA and said your antitrust structure is inherently problematic, all of a sudden NIL became a thing. Do I believe that the NCAA rolled out NIL in good faith because they had the best interest of the athlete at heart? Absolutely not. I don't think that because I haven't seen the NCAA do too much in good faith of the athlete. They did it because they're trying to save their own skin. But if they had the foresight that the good Lord granted even an Apple, they would have been able to get around this problem before it ever emerged. So yes, there's a lot of problems. Daniel, you hit the nail on the head. I think that part of this is the NFL is always that next level job, and that viewership is incredible. But ever more, there is a growing part of this that is the absolute pandemonium that the NCAA has caused. So yeah, not much more to add.
Great point.
And I'll give my quick thoughts. I think things the NCAA can do: put a salary cap on NIL, have the only transfer portal window, limit that, have one signing day like Petty did, bring it back to February. Trying to think what else. It said salary cap, transfer portal, NIL. Chris, you got any more things?
No, with the transfer portal, what they can do is take off that 30-day window to let teams get pillaged.
Yeah.
Make it like it doesn't just take 30 days to figure out if you want to leave or not. New coach come in, like once the new coach is named, you have a week to either be in or out. You know, that's how it's 30 days is just way too long. You have a week. Once the new coach is named, you have a week. And if not, you just have to wait till that next transfer window.
And I think that's what, the SEC and the Big Ten kind of have a little advisory committee. I think you're going to see probably more people trying to join them. And I think you might not see anything about the NCAA in a couple years. I think they're not going to have any power. Their college football is going to be ran by the Power 5 schools or the Power 4, however many, and they're going to make the rules and they're going to find a way to make this thing work for everybody. So that's just my 2 cents. Lushawn, Dan, y'all got any thoughts on this?
FCS Division 2. That's where I think the NCAA will govern.
It's going to be 2.
Yeah.
NFC, SEC in the North.
I don't know how much collective bargaining will do, but something's got to give. But we're here. Coach Saban asked this question 3 years ago. Is this what we wanted to be?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Lushawn?
I mean, I know some people ain't a big fan of this guy, but Tom Brady even said it himself. He's like, I wasn't driving expensive cars in college. I didn't have no money. I was working jobs. I think I'm all for the players getting paid. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, you're creating an environment of entitlement, which makes players soft, which in turn makes the game soft. And If you know anybody on this panel, we don't do soft. We don't like soft. Pause. But
Hard.
It's not good. It's not good for college football. Like it's not going in a good direction. It's getting softer by the day. Like they're not even going to be bad for 5 years for real.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Lou. I get excited.
Nah, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
No, and I'm surprised this hasn't been brought up more. You're making all that money. I don't think they should get scholarships either. You're making more than your professors. You're making more than anybody at the school.
Just pay them.
You should give that scholarship to someone that can't afford to drive a Lamborghini through campus.
And pay for your own tuition.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Exactly.
make them pay, but you got to pay your own way if you're on NIL because you can afford it.
Hey, Lou, how would question for you? I always wanted your thoughts on this. Wanted your thoughts. How would you do it as far as like NIL? Like how would you structure it as far as like Dan said, some type of collective bargaining?
Like if I was the coach or if I was like in charge of a committee.
Like how would you set the structure? Like what would you like to see?
I mean, if you're gonna set this structure up, you're gonna have to have hard rules and you're gonna have to follow them, and they're gonna have to be enforced on every team, or it's not gonna work. It's gonna have to be the same across the board. I don't know what those details are. I'm not gonna pretend that I'm smart enough to know the numbers. Like Ty could probably give you a little bit better, more insight about that, but it'd have to be a structure and a system that would have to be decided by a multitude of different types of people. You can't just give a whole bunch of people in power like a Friday afternoon while they're golfing to come up with you know what? I think we have a get out of jail free card. Let's create this system and we pay the players. And that's it. Like you can't come up with a half-cooked idea and expect it to work and then just don't expect chaos to happen. Like it's not smart. It's not good business. That's why they're probably going to be out of business. So I think that if it happens, which I doubt it will, even if you do get a system like that, you're going to have to get somebody to head that committee that's enough of a hard ass that has enough like pull in the game to actually be able to make those types of decisions that people are going to want to back. And I just don't think in this environment that we have in this world today with this entitlement factor, players are going to go for it.
And I got quite you kind of pointed towards Ty. I want to get Ty's take on this because it does almost seem like they went to the South Park underpants gnomes to figure this shit out. Like, pay players plus question mark equals profit. Great idea. It seems like the obvious solution would be there's a model right above them. We are a professional sport. This isn't amateur sports anymore. It's professional. Follow the NFL model. Why can't you collective bargain and salary caps? I mean, if the NFL didn't follow this model, Dallas would win every Super Bowl.
Right.
So, it works in the NFL. There's parity in the NFL. Well, I don't know. Not as long as Pants, Crap, and Dak is on the field. Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, he's a pant. He craps his pants. Dak crapped his pants in a football game. It's a true story. And then he does it every time he plays a big game in the NFL. But no, that system seems to work. Ty, how? I mean, is that not the route right there? Is there not a blueprint right in front of us?
Revenue sharing, very easy, right? Professional sports have figured this out. The reason that the NCAA didn't want to do it is because you have all of these legal hurdles. And then we talked about this the other day, even on my channel. I was doing a live and people were saying, hey, there are these cases, even as recent as 2019, that rule anybody in college, like under these scholarships where they're not employees. But, and I cannot remember the name of the case. There's a case stemming back from 1950. And even though it has nothing to do with NCAA, it has nothing to do with college football, there's a line of logic in it that, in my opinion, completely dictates all the arguments. And if I was working for any of these attorneys, and I'm sure they're arguing it, but it's the evolving standards of decency. And it's this notion that, yes, we have these baseline guides of what's legal, what's permissible, and what's constitutional, but we also have to view it through the lens of an evolving standard and an evolving society, because things aren't always going to be the same. So whenever we're talking about like, oh, well, they can't do these things because they're employees. Yeah, until finally it breaks through. What in the world was
Who has
that?
the dryer going off?
Somebody got that vibrate.
I'm putting my money on Chris. I'm putting my money on you, buddy.
That wasn't me, bro. I got the crock pot going. Only one thing at a
No.
time.
No, we gotta come to the bottom of this.
Somebody got that rose on the table.
We got to get to the bottom of this.
Did Justin accidentally pipe back in and we heard one of the zaps?
That was Justin, man.
Justin in the background with his sound on.
Chris, don't you lie one bit. You are your broadcast is the Sanford and Son of podcasting. There is no lie. I mean,
that was not me, dude.
This ranks up with cable access. I felt like I'm watching Wayne's World.
Wayne's World, all the time. Excellent.
We look like the Grady Bunch.
Yes, the Grady Bunch.
Oh my God. Y'all are too funny.
There's a story.
You know what? That's a tie.
Right.
Moving on.
Right.
We're going to skip ahead. We're going to talk about Bama in the NFL draft. We've already talked about offensive line changes needed. The offensive line changes that need to be made is they need to change the offensive line, right? I mean, we know that. It's great to build around the three guys they have, Parker Brailsford, Booker, and Jaeden Roberts. Great place to be. But, guys, with 15 minutes left, we need to get into this NFL draft talk. Bama has some players expected to go in the first round. I know, shocking, right? Who's heard that one before? That's a new one. Let's talk about it. What are we expecting to see out the NFL draft? Chris, I'm going to start with you because I feel like you're least likely to buzz yourself.
Oh, he's buzzing himself all right.
Oh, man. Pause.
It's one of those wives hitting the button in the other room. Ooh.
He got it in the underwear.
Y'all terrible, man.
Chris, what's that NFL draft buzz news?
Pause. Hey, man, y'all crazy, man. I think that we'll get a lot of people. What I've been hearing lately, man, is Terrion Arnold may be the first corner off the board. But like I told Dan, I still believe that Kool-Aid McKinstry, wholeheartedly, coverage-wise, is probably the second best pure cover guy Saban has had. Behind Patrick Surtain. And you know who else that third guy is as far as coverage? I'm not going off stars or nothing. Levi Wallace. I believe as far as coverage, those were the three best pure cover guys that Nick Saban has had. Like Marlon Humphrey was great, but come on, there's a lot of times he got lost with the ball in the air, other guys. So I think that while Terrion may go higher, but I believe Kool-Aid is going to be the steal. I believe both of those guys will land in the top 20. J.C. Latham, it depends on the run on tackles. He's a right tackle. It just depends on, his is going to depend on where teams are drafted, like needs, as far as needs. And the fourth guy, Dallas Turner. I think Dallas Turner may sneak in the top. He has a chance to go in that 5 to 10 range because his upside is just flat out ridiculous, man. What he did to that Georgia left tackle in the SEC championship game was like straight disrespectful. I know it wasn't a marriage meal, but it still was probably a future first rounder. So those four I have going in the first round. Somebody that can sneak in there that will be a huge steal is Chris Braswell. People are sleeping on that guy, man. And he had a great Senior Bowl, and he is like his first 5 steps are the fastest. Like when I saw him back in high school, he was the best edge defender that I've seen with my own 2 eyes as far as on the high school level. Like he was so quick off the ball to be 250 pounds and move like that. It should be illegal. So I think we may have a chance to put 5 in the first round, guys.
Ooh, I agree.
Here's your hot take.
Sorry about that buzzing sound. That was my silver bullet. I get a little crazy.
Wow. Speaking of bullets, listen, I think I'm right along with Chris. I think, that first 10 picks, you got Chicago leading, then the Commanders, Patriots. I think it's going to be a run on quarterbacks. And I think the next position will be receivers with soon as Marvin Harrison Jr. comes off the board, Malik Neighbors is coming off the board, Romeo Duzier coming off the board. Then you start getting the offensive line, edge rushers. So I think that solely puts, J.C. Latham in that conversation in the top 10, possibly with the Jets. Dallas Turner, I think he will probably the first edge off the board. And I think, picks 11, starting with the Vikings, tie. Maybe you see Terrion Arnold defensively, but I think maybe they might try to trade up to a quarterback. So, I think we're going to see a lot of Bama guys go through picks, in the top 10 and a lot going through 11 through 25, 30, 32. And I think right now, Terrion, Kool-Aid, I think they're just going to be so valuable teams. They're not going to be sitting on the board late past like 20 or something like that. So I could see Chris Braswell sneaking in maybe to Detroit Lions right now at 29. So I can easily see Alabama possibly get 5 guys, but 4 for sure with Kool-Aid, Turner, Latham, and Terrion Arnold.
Who's the first Bama guy off the board?
I'm gonna say it's either between Turner or Terrion because I don't know. It depends on how the draft. I think it's gonna be a run on QBs. Caleb Williams, Jalen Daniels, Drake May, teams trying to trade up. Then if Chicago trades back and get like Marvin Harrison, then it's going to be a run on like 3 receivers for sure. Mm-hmm. Then you're going to get offensive tackle, possibly edge, and Dallas Turner, I think, is going to be the main one in that top 10 that people will go for off the edge. I think it's going to be the first one off the board edge-wise. So you just know how the draft, you don't know how it's going to go. I think it's going to be a quarterback's runs, receiver runs, then you're going to get edge, offensive tackle, then DBs, corners, all that stuff. That's just my thoughts.
Gotcha.
Loose?
Now, listen, I'm going to pump this up. We're going to get 6 in the first round.
Ooh. Boy,
yes, sir. And Boygbe sneaking in there. That boy played his ass off at the Senior Bowl. He played his way into the first round to me. I got Dallas, Terrion, Kool-Aid, JC, and Chris Braswell. I think a Boygbe goes before Braswell. I really do.
Whoa.
I really do. Just because there's going to be about 3 trades that are going to shake it up to the point to where these teams fall. It's going to happen like that.
I like it.
Devontae Wyatt went for Georgia. He wasn't even one of the big 3.
Will Riker ain't going to be picked in the first. I mean, he should be, but he ain't going to go first.
He's going to be a 4th round pick.
I say 3rd.
Yeah, I'd probably say about 3rd, mid-3rd round.
Dan the man, give us your thoughts. You holding up the 4?
Yeah, definitely 4. Turner. I got Dallas Turner being the first Bama player off the board just because pass rushers are at a premium. You know what I'm saying? And he definitely fits the bill. He's one of the best, if not the best. At that. So in the NFL, it's all about affecting the quarterback on the defensive side of the ball, and nobody does it better than Dallas Turner. And that's why I'm saying we may be able to sneak Chris Braswell in. It all depends on the combine, his pro day or whatever. But definitely I see 4, with Dallas Turner, Kool-Aid, Terrion, and J.C. Latham. But there's a possibility of getting Chris Braswell. Now I got it Boygbe at day 2, because it's just where would he fit, in the first round? What team would be a good fit in the first round? So yeah, definitely those 4. But yeah, definitely I see Dallas Turner being the first Bama player off the board.
and for Igbokwe, his medical is going to be so key for him in Indianapolis. That's going to be the biggest probably question mark for him. But if he clears that, I can definitely see him possibly. Ty, give us your thoughts. Then we go, Patty.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. I think Dan hit it right on the head. I think that Alabama's probably looking at getting 4 in the first round. I think Dallas Turner will probably be the first one off the board. And that's because you look at the edge rushers in the NFL. It is an absolute position of premium. And I was actually talking to some of the guys I make content with in the Texas Longhorn sphere. And one of them was asking me afterwards, he's like, Dallas Turner was terrifying in college, and we would always talk about him for the 2 matchups where Texas played Alabama. But he was saying, like, as scary as he is in college, in the NFL, like, he is the exact prototypical, like, terrifying pass rusher that we grew up expecting, right? Like, he is an absolute menace. And he's like, I feel like it's a crazy thing to say, but he's like, I think he's just going to go to a whole nother level in the NFL. And I think I'm excited to see where he goes. So yeah, not much to add there. Dan.
Yeah. Especially after seeing what Will Anderson was able to do. Mm-hmm. So that's going to help Dallas Turner tremendously when it comes to the draft.
And he's a little longer than Will.
Right.
And probably a little more twitchier, more a little athletic a little bit.
And much damn meaner.
Yeah.
Turner arrives pissed off.
Right.
Yeah, he'd be mad at the world.
Yeah.
Patty, your thoughts? Round us out, sir.
Man, same. I'm not sold. Like, look, I agree with you guys. I think Kool-Aid is actually the better of the two. He was always covering the number 1 guy. He didn't get the stats because they never came Kool-Aid's way because he was locking down number 1 more times than not. I wasn't the biggest fan of him returning punts, but I was a big fan of him out on that island.
Yeah.
But a lot. I looked at several different projections. The NFL, there's one. The Falcons really like Arnold, and they could snag him at 8 and pop him as the first off the board. If it doesn't get crazy with trades, if Arnold doesn't go 8 to the Falcons, you could see JC going 10th to the Jets. But man, I think we're going to see a lot of those 4 guys that everybody's mentioned go into that 10 to 20 range, unless the Falcons come up and pop at 8 or somebody takes a run on Dallas Turner. Because I can only echo so much what Dan and Ty said. Man, the NFL, if you watch that league, it is built off. If you've got a beast defensive end and a beast defensive line, that's the game, man. You can completely change it. That's what KC did to kind of take over in the Super Bowl there. And Turner is that damn dude, man. He can have like that PJ Jones, Chris Jones he can have that effect on a game. You can watch a defensive lineman completely change a game in the NFL. I think Turner's that guy. I don't know, man. I've seen the projections a lot. It's really the Rams. Several pegging him at the Rams at 19. If he falls to 19, that's the biggest steal in the draft. I don't think. I think the Vikings. I think Ty might get a treat. I think he might get him at the Vikings at number 11, and that's going to be. I think he is the best pick of the 4 for Alabama because I think he can absolutely change games in the NFL. And none of these are bad picks. These are all these guys are studs. Kool-Aid's going to be great. You got to have corner guys in the NFL, but man, can only rave so much about Turner.
I keep seeing him at 8 to the Falcons.
Ooh.
Yeah, that would be nice.
No, 11.
I like that 11. No, let him go 11. It's okay.
Right. That sounds
guys, we're talking about the first round, guys. Who do you think are going to be steals, great value guys that really help with depth in that NFL roster? Maybe a Jace McClellan or
Jermaine Burton.
Igbokwe. Chris, you already mentioned
Burton. Burton is the answer. Burton, Jermaine Burton.
What do you think will be a good fit for him? Give us your why. One player.
Dallas, somewhere like Dallas with CD Lamb, paired with CD Lamb, or somewhere like Atlanta, where in the middle, a 3rd round guy in Atlanta somewhere with Drake London and Pitts, somewhere like
Charlotte need anything.
Yeah,
I got mine. I'm gonna tell you mine.
Carolina needs anything, but a perfect fit for him.
I don't even know the team name. They so bad.
I can see him going somewhere like Tennessee and thriving in that type of offense. Somebody that just needs a spark. An offense that just needs a spark.
Yeah, got it. Dan, your thoughts? Player, team.
Oh, yeah, I just said, Jermaine Burton in Carolina to the Panthers. That'll be a good fit for them. Late on, but other than that, Will Riker, but the cupboard is bare.
Yeah. Ty?
My boy said Jalen Keith.
I'm going to say Jace, but that's because I think Jace is just a super, super well-rounded running back in terms of he can play in multiple different systems. He has a lot to add into a team. And he did a lot at Alabama while not ever being fully healthy, right? Like he was pretty banged up and he just battled through because he's a warrior. In terms of team, I have no idea, guys. I didn't watch a whole ton of NFL this year. I've watched the most NFL in the playoffs. I think I can count on one hand how many games I watched all year, so I have no idea in terms of team, anything like that.
I heard that. Luce?
I can't really say much more than everybody already said. I'd say Will is probably going to be the best one for real. He'll be the most impactful right away.
That's what I was
for me.
That's the
anywhere he goes, he's money.
Right.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say
the J.K. Scott.
What he said. Anybody who's smart enough to take a kicker who wins so many damn games in that league, it's worth a first round pick for a Will Riker. Yeah, it's absolutely.
Not only is he a kicker, he's the NCAA leading scorer, guys. And I like Will Riker with the Detroit Lions. I mean, if Dan Campbell,
Will Riker, I like it.
If Dan Campbell, he could possibly be in the Super Bowl if he had a Will Riker to kick field goals. So I'll leave it at that.
I mean, Will Riker.
Who was that team that the guy said that the head coach, before he kicked the ball, he was like he had a bad feeling that he didn't have any faith in him and he missed it anyway? What game was that? It may have been a playoff game.
I don't know. But I got
just happened.
Who is Swift going to grab? She owns the Chief right now. She can draft
me.
She's going to draft Kelsey. Guys, real quick, I'm going to throw y'all a quick question. Oh, Justin, what were we going to say?
I'm going to go with Jermaine Burton being a steal, and I actually got two different teams he could go to. One, my Baltimore Ravens. It's time to push Odell Beckham out. He's a shell of his former self, and he doesn't really contribute a whole lot. And the Ravens really just need that nastiness brought back to their wide receiver group. They hadn't had that since Steve Smith. Jermaine Burton can be that guy as long as he doesn't turn into toxic Jermaine Burton, which he can be at times. I'd love to see the energy, but also too, you could apply that to the Kansas City Chiefs. They didn't really have that wide receiver who could just take over a game, who could just be nasty and get everybody energized. Well, Rice was okay in spurts, but Burton just has the ability to turn to another gear. They need that little bit of nasty at the wide receiver core. That's my pick.
I like it. Guys, I'm going to give you on threes 2024 win totals for SEC. Leading Georgia, they're probably going to get 10.5. Texas, 10.5. Bama, 9.5. LSU, 9.5. Missouri, 9.5. And Ole Miss, 9.5. Guys, are we buying into this Texas hype coming in the SEC and being the number 2 best team in the SEC? Ty?
Well, Texas is interesting because they have to fix the secondary up, which they have some young players there, but they're losing 2 guys in the interior of that defense that are going to be real hard to replace. Now they got some wins on the edge. 5-star Colin Simmons. They get Trey Moore from UTSA, who he put up some monstrous numbers. He's going to be a really good player for them, and they definitely needed the edge presence. But not only that, they lost their entire wide receiving core, and they got some guys in from the transfer portal, sure, but they also, have got to figure that out. So I think Texas has got a lot of talent. They've recruited incredibly well under Steve Sarkisian, but it's going to be interesting to see what they do in the SEC. I'm actually really excited for their game against Michigan. That's one of the games that I have circled for this upcoming year.
I got 9-3.
At Patty, I think they got Ole Miss 9-5. I think that's a little low. I think with their schedule not having to play Alabama, I think they should be a little bit higher.
What? Yeah.
Take the over.
Take the over.
I don't know, man.
Ole Miss gonna win at least 10 games.
I don't know, man. They can always Ole Miss it. Y'all got a history of Ole missing some shit. So
Lane ain't gonna miss it. Lane not gonna miss it.
No, they. I'll say this is, hey, look, hey Ty, you talked about Ohio State pushing all their chips on the table. Man, Ole Miss did the same thing. They didn't do it to the level of Ohio State, but Ole Miss saw a window coming up this year. Like you said, they don't play Alabama. They got their toughest 2 games are Georgia and Oklahoma, both at home. You know, and Georgia actually has to play a real person schedule this year. They get Alabama in September. They actually play some football games before. So, they don't get to just walk through the schedule unfazed until they get to the end of it and still choke. So, if you're an Ole Miss fan, man, this is your shot. You better. And I don't think I don't think they're going to win it all by any stretch of the imagination. Their shot to get in the playoffs and get excited and hotty toddy and all that good shit. But no, they pushed their chips in. But to answer your question on well, I guess you were asking me about Ole Miss, not Texas. A month ago, or I would have said it gave a different answer on Texas. But
I do have a question on Ole Miss for everybody. We give a lot of flack to Ryan Day, and I get it, massive expectations. What's the biggest win of Kiffin's career?
Ooh,
is it 2019 A&M?
Penn State. LSU last year, maybe.
Yeah.
No, it was this bowl game. This bowl game just now.
Yeah, he just beat Penn State, number 10. I'd probably say that.
That's not asking. Like, I'm not asking a loaded question. I'm just
no. That's it. No, I said ooh because that's a great question. Because the knock on Kiffin, even coming into this season from Ole Miss fans, is when does he get the marquee win? When does he get the marquee win? But to his credit, though, the predecessors before him didn't win the games they were supposed to. He beat LSU this year. He beat Texas A&M this year. Those are games that Ole Miss coaches or Ole Miss in previous years lose. He just didn't beat the 2 monsters. He couldn't beat Georgia. He couldn't beat Alabama. He hadn't beat the best teams yet, but he seems to beat everybody else. That's a great question, though, Ty. He's got to get over the hump and win one of those outside of – I think Chris had a point on that.
I think that LSU game this year was huge because LSU, if they would have won that game, they would have been on a roll. Coming into Bryant-Denny this year.
And they were ranked high and going in, 8 minutes to go, they had a 9-point lead in the game. So, yeah, that was a big, big win. I know a couple people that are going nuts. I'll say no names.
Hey, Petty, speaking of Ole Miss, Matt Corral is now your starting quarterback for the Birmingham Stallions.
Is he really? No kidding.
Signed today.
I hope he keeps it together. That's cool, man. Good deal. Good for Matt. Huge. I don't know, man, but Ole Miss and expectations. Y'all seen it from the Bama side. They're a program. They're not that program they're not Vandy or Kentucky, but they seem to get to a ceiling and they get those expectations and never get over the hump. So I think that's a great question. This is the year. It's kind of as much for Ryan Day, Lane Kiffin. You got the guns. Can you beat a Georgia? Can you beat Oklahoma at home when they come into your house? And it's no longer, man, Lane's been playing the underdog role at Ole Miss. Man, it's us against the world. It ain't that case. When you come into the season top 10, you can't play the underdog card anymore. Now you're the hunted, not the hunter. And that's a whole different ballgame for that team in Oxford. So they're not used to what Alabama and the Texas of the world do. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle real pressure week in and week out.
I'll make a bold prediction for Ole Miss.
What?
If Ole Miss beat Georgia, they're going 12-0. Because they don't play Bama.
Y'all had to come get my ass out of jail.
Bama, they're going to kick Oklahoma's butt at home in Oxford. Watch what I tell you. They're going to kick Oklahoma's butt in Oxford. But if they beat Georgia, they avoid Bama. With the team Ole Miss has coming back, they will be 12-0 if they beat Georgia at home. That's my prediction.
And this prediction, they have Auburn minus 69. So
over under on Hugh Freeze massage parlor visits during the season, 9.5 over. And our boy Chris William, we know he's in the chat here. He claims to be an Auburn fan, but we know for damn sure he's a Bama Standard fan.
That's my boy.
Want to say roll
fine with that.
And for Auburn's eye, they got a 1-800 number, so I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
1-800only.com.
Hey, Lou don't give nothing but a piece about the tide, so you don't want to.
Lou don't give nothing but a piece about the tide.
All right, guys, we have hit the hour with the Avengers. Thanks for tuning in. You know, we give you everything. So, I mean, another great show, guys. You know, find out. Don't forget, before we get into how you can reach us, CC the Crimson Dynasty tomorrow night, as well as George T show, Teague's Take, CC show tomorrow, as well as Teague's Take. Tune in tomorrow. And guys, please hit me up on Twitter or X, mcadell11. I'm there. Roasting Alicia Keys about coming in with her opening note in the Usher halftime show. So,
sounded like something we've heard Chris do on the show kicking off.
And yeah, that's how you can find me. Ty, you next, sir.
Listen, we're on a sabbatical right now from the extracurricular. So, you know, until then, you can catch me at Around the Table Sports pretty much every single day, talking about something college football related or not college football related. I don't even know half the time anymore. I just seem to ramble.
Love it. Dan the man.
Of course, you know, it all starts here on Tuesday nights with the final whistle, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Tomorrow night, you know, we got this, you know, we say CC show, and she got a handsome guest on there, you know.
I ain't on that.
Wait, I'm supposed to be on?
So, you know, that's the thing now. You know, so, you know, be sure to catch it tomorrow night, you know, to see the surprise guest. But also, you know, find me on Twitter at the Final Whistle Dan, or X is what they call it now. You know, it's growing, y'all. Y'all give me to 150 by the end of the week. I may have something special for you.
Oh no! Y'all remember that Laughing Taffy he supposed to be shaking?
No, that's old.
Ben Edwards says, Chris, can you smell what the Crockett's cooking?
Hey, but yeah, guys, you can find me on Facebook at Chris K. James Sr., on Twitter at what is it? Coach Chris James.
Yes,
I think that's it. Man, I got so many at CKJ Sr. on Instagram.
It's an autograph. Autograph.
They're like that Mobile Leprechaun guy.
I think it's a crackhead.
I was doodling.
That's actually the picture. Dan was down there that night on the show. That Dan was the guy showing the picture. That's the original print.
That's the original print of that Mobile Leprechaun.
That's the Daniel James print.
That's the Daniel Moore version.
Here we go. Shots fired. All right, guys. Tomorrow night we're going to break down Auburn's roster.
Chris, we're going to get you on.
Hell yeah, let's do it. I want to break down Auburn's roster.
We're going to get you on, Chris. I bet we add to the network.
I bet if we break down that roster, we can pump ourselves up enough to think we're going to the Duke's Mayo Bowl with that team. and get our ass kicked by Purdue instead of Maryland.
I love it. I love it. Lou Shy.
Wow. You know, sometimes me and my panel they go off, and you just gotta hold on. You don't know where it's gonna take you, but I'm gonna take you somewhere. You can find me on Twitter at Rolu21.
Let's go.
I'm always retweeting. I'm always learning something, sharing it with Bama Nation, keeping everybody up to date, roasting people when I can.
Yeah.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Lucian Graves. On there doing the same thing, maybe a little bit more of the roasting as far as on Facebook. And coming up, it's about to be a time for the show. The Ivory Files is about to take place.
I'm ready, baby.
It's going to be fun, y'all. It's going to be on Thursday nights. It's coming. I'm telling you, it's going to be hot. Everybody needs to tune in. It's going to be a lot of fun. And
Get it.
you know, lately I've been taking a lot of me time, you know, doing a lot of research, a lot of reading, a lot of meditating. So as far as OnlyFans, you know, I felt like I've transversed above OnlyFans. And you know, once we get this project done that I'm working on, we'll let you know on what the new hotness is. But OnlyFans for me is done. I've transversed to a different level,
There
a
it
whole another level.
Fear not, fans. I'm just on a sabbatical. I'm certainly not above OnlyFans. So
Ty got Blaze, man. Blaze be disappointed.
Oh man. I don't know if Blaze is the name.
Blaze is something.
OnlyFans.
Oh, and you never know.
You never know.
Oh damn.
Patty, give us how can we reach out to you?
Oh man,
Strip on A-Day with me.
Yeah, you can find me at Galette's on Tuesday, at the Booze on Thursday. No, I'm in Tampa. You see me up there, my wife. We got some problems. Hey man, here every Tuesday night on the Final Whistle, making friends across the nation. Auburn, Bama fans, whoever. I make y'all all love me. Petty_Daniel on the Twitter X, whatever that is now. And I was saying, my name on Facebook, it ain't hard to find. If you want to look for me there, I don't know why you would, but I'm there. Also, weekzerosports.com. Every once in a while, we do a podcast. It's pretty exciting when we do. It's amazing shit. But I am here every Tuesday night, causing a ruckus with my Avengers, man. Love you guys.
Love you too, brother. Justin. Hey man, let's get Justin on. He never tells his social. What's up, Justin? Tell us how to find you, man.
The white van. Right.
Yeah.
He's probably finishing up the duct tape job right now, guys.
Hold on a minute, fellas. I finished duct tape.
Hold on, I'm getting more batteries for this taser.
She changing that one light bulb in the basement.
Hold on, I got to put on a fresh white tee.
All right, guys. That's another episode of Final Whistle. We like to end on those two words. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Roll Tide.